Good morning. You're watching DeProgram for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. I'm Ted Rall. John Kiriakou is my co-host. How are you, John?
Hey, Ted. Doing well. And you?
Good, good. We're continuing to follow the U.S. and Israeli attack against Iran and how the war is spreading throughout the Middle East. Once again, we have replays of 2003 and differing rationales for war.
Yep.
Things are spreading throughout. We're going to have our financial expert, Aquiles Larrea, joining us at 9:15. The stock market just opened half an hour ago. And as predicted from the futures market, the Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged over 700, 800 points. We're looking at a possible total downward trajectory on the stock market today of 1 to 2 percentage points. That's a lot, and it's not good. Defense stocks and oil companies being the exception. Marco Rubio finally explained the rationale for the war. He said, and we'll get into that. And of course, there's a series of primaries in Texas where the futures of the Democratic Party and Republican Party are being sort of analyzed. We're going to read the tea leaves out of that and try to predict what's going to happen there. As always, please like, follow, and share the show. We always love to get your questions in the live chat on Rumble and on YouTube. And for those of you who piped in early with the aha slides, please bear in mind we currently have like 49 questions in the queue, so we'll try to get to all of them, but it's going to be a little challenging. We're over 22,000 subscribers, so thank you for helping us grow our show. It's really gratifying. Okay,
and this. Let me add real quickly. I want to say thank you too for subscribing to the show. This has been completely, utterly organic growth. We've been guided very, very wisely by Robbie.
True.
Robbie understands these algorithms way better than we do. But really, it's just because you guys get up and watch every day that we're able to continue doing it. Otherwise, we would have walked away 6 months ago.
It's true.
So thank you for that.
And it was, it was definitely a slog for months, where basically
it was tough.
It's like, we're not making a penny. Like, does anyone care? Does anyone want us to do this? Is this worth doing? Is this worth our time? But I think that we've turned that corner thanks to you guys. Speaking of which, let's go quickly remind people, because we need Robbie, we do need you to help pitch in to help us keep Robbie. Please, we look for $1,000 every month. It's the beginning of March. So please go to GoFundMe.com and go to DeProgram Robbie, or go to GoFundMe.com/FSandFrank/DeProgram Robbie, one word, and just do whatever you can. We will stop asking when we get to $1,000. John and I each put in $500. And I guess we should just get to it, John. Obviously, we'll get to Texas later, but let's.
And we made a little mistake. Achilles is not going to be with us today. It's tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, so
we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's fine, and we can still talk about the economy even without Achilles. Okay. So
real quickly, I wanted to say that the Dow futures, the market opens in 25 minutes. The Dow futures are down almost 900 points, 1.8%. The S&P 500 is down 1.7%. The NASDAQ is down 2.2%. It's going to be hideous today. Yeah, and now with the Strait of Hormuz being closed, in the last 2 days, oil has gone from $66 a barrel to $83 a barrel.
Gas prices in the United States literally went up an average of 10 cents yesterday.
Yesterday in one day.
Yeah. Yep. So so that's, we're just going to see more of that. Okay, so we're gonna. I think we should just go, John, if you don't mind. Can we just talk about Marco Rubio?
Let's talk. Yeah, he needs a smack across the chops. Yeah.
So Rubio, basically, he said, look, we, under as we know, under international law, preemptive war is not allowed. You have to either be directly attacked, in which case you can defend yourself. That's legal. Or there can be an imminent risk of attack. Like, the classic example is you look across the border. I guess a good example would be Ukraine and Russia before February of 2022. Russian forces were massing and preparing to attack Ukraine. There was credible intelligence. If Ukraine had attacked Russia first, they could have made a credible case that there was an imminent threat. There's nothing like that here. All the experts say that there were not going to be that Iran did not have, nor was seeking a nuclear weapons program. In the long-range missiles, there's no indication that Iran even began researching or developing, much less manufacturing them. It would have taken at least 10 years for them to get there, according to the intelligence assessment. So Rubio goes on and says, well, Israel called us and said they were going to attack Iran. So they said, you got to be careful, because then the Iranians will retaliate against your troops in the Middle East. Therefore, you have to come to our side and attack Iran also. Now, John, as you and I were both talking right before the show, there is a doctrine under international law, Rule 20 of the customary international humanitarian law, specifically Article 57(2)(c) of the additional protocol passed in 1977. The United States is a party to this, and U.S. soldiers and sailors are taught this in the academies, that they have to provide a member state has to provide a warning when it knows that there's going to be an unjustified attack. So Trump, if Rubio is telling the truth, then Rubio or Trump had a legal obligation under U.S. law and treaty law to contact the Iranians and say, listen, they're coming for you. And
it's called the duty to warn.
Maybe ask the Iranians for a favor, like, since we told you, do you mind leaving our guys alone? That would be great. And also, what's to stop Trump from telling Netanyahu, if you do that, there will be no more money and there will be no more weapons from us?
George H.W. Bush was the last American president to stand up to the Israelis. It was on the issue of settler housing. And he said, if you don't stop with these settlements, we're going to suspend loan guarantees. And the Israelis said, go ahead and try. And he did. And the Israelis suspended new housing for settlers. It was temporary, but at least it worked. And since then, we haven't had a single president of either party willing to stand up to the Israelis.
Do you believe Rubio's story? I'm not sure I do.
No. I think that's just an effort to make him look like, or make us look like the good guys.
I mean, the truth is there's no legal justification here. And what's interesting is, maybe because of the fact that only 1 out of 4 voters support this, all the mainstream media outlets that normally would be cheerleading a war like they did in 2003, they're all saying, getting experts to come on and say, yeah, there's no justification, this is illegal, and so on.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right.
It's very, very different. We could go in. And the other thing is, I guess the main news today is that 787 Iranians so far, at least, have died, and 6 American soldiers, at least, have died.
And you know what? If those numbers are correct, that is 20% of those deaths are children from that school that was bombed by the Israelis.
Yeah, that's just from that school. There's more children there too.
You bet.
So both, interestingly, we talked about this yesterday, John, that Iran clearly is holding back their more powerful weapons for later. And they've decided to take a totally different approach than they did previously in their last 2 times that they were attacked by this coalition. But Trump also has said, "Oh, we're about to hit them even harder." John, what does that look like?
I think they're gonna start. I think we're going to initiate more sustained bombing attacks. I think we are going to probably send a 3rd carrier battle group. I think that we're going to begin diplomatic work to bring other countries into it, which would be just a terrible, terrible mistake. In fact, in the Greek press this morning, the prime minister went out of his way without being asked to say, we are not bombing Iran. We will not bomb Iran. We don't have anything to do with the bombing of Iran. And I think he said that because he knows that it's coming, that the request to up the ante is coming.
But meanwhile, other countries, other U.S. allies like France and Germany are, they say that they're going to be participating with
Yes.
defensive operations. What does that mean as opposed to offensive operations? Does that have a meaning? Is that a distinction without a difference?
If any of these countries have Patriot missile batteries, they could send them to the Emirates or Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. But even if they do have Patriot missile batteries, those are finite arsenals. And so I think that's what that would mean. We're talking about a week or 2 weeks worth of defense.
Kirk Swenson had this question for me, but I don't see why you couldn't answer it, John. Are we the closest we've ever been to needing the 25th Amendment getting rid of, with pulling out the president? By the way, speaking of which, I just posted J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is the man who would have to trigger it. The vice president triggers it and then gets a simple majority vote from the cabinet in order to remove the president. It's never been done.
No, never.
J.D. Vance, I want to get this right. This is yesterday. This is a quote. President Trump will not get the United States into a years-long conflict with no clear objective. Iran can never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. That's the goal of this operation, and President Trump will see it to completion. I'm sorry, John. Didn't Trump announce that Iran's nuclear weapons program had been completely decimated last time, a few months ago?
I think he used the word obliterated.
Okay, so obliterated is a big word.
Either he was lying to us or the Israelis were lying to him. Or he's lying now. That's right.
And and there's not even a statement like, well, we got pretty close, but we really have to finish the job. We were wrong. We meant 80% obliterated. Okay, so 25th Amendment, I say yes. I think the president's out of control and should be removed. I think, he should have gone to Congress. He didn't. Okay. So let's, shall we do some questions?
Yeah, let's do questions. And we've got to thank some people first.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to thank, first of all, Heartmade, 99 pounds 99. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And also thank you for $5 from Tati Mary.
Thank you.
What do we think the off-ramps for this war look like? That's a good question. How likely is this ends without becoming a long-term conflict? Can I answer the second one? I think we're 50-50 on that one. I think that this could, it's going to be weeks, maybe months, but does it go years? Years is hard to fathom, just given the mismatch in weapons between the U.S. and Iran. But what do you think? Yeah,
I think that if the United States really wants to destroy Iran, it can destroy Iran. Mm-hmm. But what does destruction look like? Mm-hmm. My guess is it's going to be decades of chaos. And like we said yesterday, Ted, that's to Israel's benefit. It's not to our benefit, nor is it to the benefit of our friends and allies in the Gulf.
John, the more we talked about this sort of very fleetingly when we did the special shows over the weekend, but I'm really convinced that civil war is the most likely outcome here.
God almighty. And what would be worse it's going to happen, that the United States and the Israelis are going to begin arming factions in Iran.
Probably radical factions.
Most likely. Isn't that always the case?
That's why is that, John? Why in Afghanistan did we arm the Mujahideen as opposed to another force? Why do we always go for the crazies?
It's like the White Russians versus the Red Russians. I don't know.
Yeah, I never understood.
There's always this very short-sighted analysis. Always. Who's going to help us win today? Okay, these really terrible people, they're going to help us win today. And if they win, then we'll deal with them later.
And they'll owe us. They'll remember us.
Oh, yeah, sure, because that always works out so well.
I think they always think that, though. Okay, so let's see. What do the off-ramps look like, John? Hard to see.
Yeah, I don't really see an off-ramp other than just declaring victory and going home. You wiped out most of the leadership. Mm-hmm. And I think Trump was hinting at it yesterday when he said that that the Iranians wanted to talk. In fact, the reporting is that we want to talk. The reporting is that we approached the Italians and asked the Italians to tell the Iranians that we're interested in a ceasefire. And it was the Iranians who said no ceasefire.
By the way, I have some good news, John. Robbie 8 is now fulfilled. We have our $1,000.
Thank you, everybody.
So that's great. Thank you. We will not be bugging you about that. By the way, for someone who asked about this, they saw that there was like a total of $4,000 in there. That's because it's been 4 months. So we go for $1,000 a month. So it's a total. I'm sorry about that confusion. It's not a new GoFundMe every month. It's an old GoFundMe. Maybe there's some way that Robbie can like edit that in order to explain that in the entry, because I could totally see why that would be confusing. People are like, hey, you say you need $1,000, but there's $4,000 in there. But that's spread out over time for people who've been watching the show. They know that to be true. Okay. John, this is a question from Papadopoulos. Thanks for the €2. Do you think there will be Greek-Turkish tension more than now?
I do. The Turks are probably the most militarily powerful country standing in opposition to Israel. And the Greek government couldn't get any more pro-Israel. This is funny. The funny thing in Greece, the Greek people are solidly anti-Israel because they're pro-Palestinian. But the Greek government is solidly pro-Israel because Cyprus is sitting on an ocean of natural gas. And the Greeks, the Cypriots, the Israelis, to a lesser extent, the Egyptians, are lifting the gas together and sharing the money from it, which is driving the Turks crazy. But it's made this situation where, as bad as things are between Greece and Turkey, they're sort of on track to get worse. And then this war in Iran doesn't help anything at all.
Question for both of us, and thanks for the $4.99. How do we feel about the 9 dead Pakistani protesters killed outside the U embassy in Karachi? I saw the video of that. It looked to me like it was embassy guards who were, or consular guards who were firing at the Pakistanis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, were the Pakistanis trying to enter the compound? And yes. I would imagine that's why.
In Pakistan is a country where American embassies and American consulates have repeatedly been attacked and they've been burned to the ground. Diplomats have been murdered there inside the embassy. Pakistan is one of the most dangerous countries in the world if you are an American.
For sure.
It's not unusual for people to fire rockets at the embassy, to shoot you as you're coming out of the embassy parking lot, to throw Molotov cocktails or hand grenades. And so you can't risk it spinning out of control. You've got to shoot. If you feel your life is truly in danger, you've got to shoot.
I mean, in Pakistan, if you look like me or John,
you're dead.
There's a good chance that, like just being in a cab, people will throw rocks at you or, whatever, or worse.
Yeah.
It's happened to me. Italic, John, what do you think about Italy's position? And thanks for the €2.
The Italians are trying to stay neutral as best they can. The Italians actually told us that they would deliver such a message. And in fact, the reporting is that they did deliver a message that the U.S. was interested in a ceasefire. It was the Iranians who rejected the ceasefire because they haven't yet begun fighting back. Not really. Let me add one other thing. Several different people asked me about Gathimerini, the Greek newspaper Gathimerini's documentary on 17 November. Have I seen it? I've not seen it, but I'm in it. I sat for an interview last March that lasted like 3 hours, but I haven't seen it. I look forward to checking it out.
John, it's all over the press today that the Trump administration has no plan whatsoever for post-war, post-Khamenei leadership, right? For what Iran should look like.
Yeah.
This keeps happening, right? And the thing is, I mean, obviously the most the classic example is We didn't know, who was going to replace the Taliban. And we were flirting with the exiled king who was living in Italy. And then we drudged up Hamid Karzai, who was not widely popular, I think would be fair to say, even from the very beginning. We were flirting with Ahmed Chalabi. We didn't know what we were going to do about Saddam, and we never did figure it out, really. Iran ended up filling that power vacuum. But this U.S. Regime change thing, it goes back to like World War II, right? Like, FDR didn't seem to know what he wanted to do about France after D-Day, and he didn't want de Gaulle. And I mean, what is with the United States not understanding? Because over and over and over, policymakers are told, you have to have a plan for the post-war. You have to have a regime. You don't overthrow someone and create a power vacuum unless you have someone credible to replace them. Venezuela, I mean, I guess it kind of like worked out because we just kidnapped the dude and the government's still there. What is happening here? I'm sure the CIA advises presidents to, hey, here's a list of people who could run this country you're thinking of overthrowing. Don't they?
Yeah. Hey, but before I answer, the United States just announced that it is closing its embassies in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. This is dramatic.
Is it true that the Qataris shot down an Iranian fighter jet?
I saw the report and I didn't see any confirmation.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. All through the first Gulf War, we never closed any embassies. I mean, the Iranian, we had to close Kuwait because it was attacked and invaded, and our diplomats were held as hostages, human shields in Iraq. But to close 2 American embassies means that the White House and the State Department have decided that this is going to get a whole hell of a lot worse than what it is right now.
John, what are the obligations that the U.S. Embassies and consulates have to U.S. nationals and affiliates in a war zone? I mean, over and over, we're seeing these facilities close. But other countries like the U.K. is sending chartered planes to try to rescue their nationals.
Usually the U.S. does that, but we're so deep into a hot war so quickly. Like there was months of run up to the Gulf War. There's no time to do it. There was an announcement made yesterday by the State Department urging all Americans in the Persian Gulf to get out.
But there's no flights.
There are no flights. And so
the airports are closed.
Today, the UAE government said that any person, any Westerner stuck in a hotel and unable to evacuate will have all of his hotel bills paid. So just stay, relax, protect yourself, and we'll figure things out later.
Well, I guess there's worse things than that.
Yeah, that's very generous. That's the Emiratis. That's how they are. They're very generous.
But it's like, what's the? But like, I just saw the official notification from the State Department telling Americans in Israel that they should get the fuck out and leave as soon as they can, but that there's no flights and that they're not going to provide them with any assistance.
Yeah.
And the advice was,
on your own.
Try to make your way to Jordan. I'm like, wait, so you want them to make their way through the West Bank right now? Right now. That's what you're saying.
Freaking believable.
Right?
Because, where they're going to go. Rafah's closed, so you can't go to Egypt. You can't go to Lebanon. You wouldn't want to anyway, because the Israelis and Hezbollah are fighting in the south. You can't go to Syria because it's no man's land. Yeah. But you can't get to Jordan because you have to cross the West Bank, and the Israelis won't let you.
It's really like, man, U.S. passport is not worth what you think. Balin TCC, thank you very much for the Hungarian forints, 4,000. I have no idea how much that's worth. I'd like to think it's a king's ransom, but I suspect it's not. Anyway, do you guys think that the news of 50% of Iran's missile launching capabilities have been taken out is true? If not, what do you think the true figure is?
Iran's missile capabilities?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what the Pentagon is reporting. The Pentagon is saying that we've destroyed all these missile launchers. I saw a report yesterday saying that 50% of Iran's missile launchers have been destroyed, but the Iranians can still take deliveries from Russia and China through the north. And if the Russians have any idea what's good for them, they're going to try to get back to us for Ukraine by continuing to send surface-to-air missiles and missile launchers to the Iranians. I would
too, big time. LOL, thanks for the $5. Saudi analysts say that Israel attacked their Aramco oil refinery, not Iran. Is this another Israeli false flag? What other false flags should we expect? Speaking of false flags, on the other side of that, Iran was accused by right-wingers of attacking that school themselves.
Yeah, so
that
stupid.
Didn't happen.
I had a friend tell me today that he does not wish to speak with me any longer because he posted, he's very, very religious, and he posted this thing on Facebook saying that there are millions of people in the streets in Iran, and that they're all secretly Christian, and now Iran's going to turn into a Christian nation. And I wrote, literally not one single word of this is true. And he says, oh, because you're the expert. And I said, yeah.
Ridiculous. Johanna, thanks for the $4.99. I'm in the process of enlisting as infantry in the Army. What are the chances that we ever use boots on the ground in this war?
48 hours ago, I would have said we're not going to do that because it's going to go very quickly. And today I'm going to say it's probably a 50-50 prospect, because even after the president said repeatedly, we are not going to send boots on the ground. Yesterday morning, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, said, well, not so fast. And then the president refused to reiterate his earlier position that we won't send boots on the ground. I
think there's a chance.
I do too.
I mean, I don't know if it's quite at 50%, but we're moving toward that direction. Magnus Karanis, thanks for the 50 Norwegian krona. Why did Iran bomb all the Gulf countries? We did address this, so we should quickly, though. How would the Gulf countries react to this when the Gulf countries aren't the biggest fans of Israel?
The Gulf countries, I mean, I was just there in the Gulf, and we talked about this. They would have very nervously just sat the whole thing out, right? This is between the Americans, the Israelis, and the Iranians. But you know, when you're blowing up hotels in Dubai or the airport, the civilian airport in Manama and in Kuwait, and you're bombing, of all people, the peace-loving Omanis who have been trying to broker peace between the two sides, okay, then you've made a lot of enemies that you really didn't need to make.
Gorsk, thanks for the $5 on Rumble. Trump starts a war and you're on your own to get out. What a prick. I agree. I would like thanks for the 10 euros. I would love for you guys to invite Professor Jiang. He has some great takes on the situation in geopolitics in general. Robbie, please look into that. Robbie, do we have an ad by any chance? Yep. All right, we're ready for it. We'll take another question in the interim. Okay, so all right, let's get to some of these questions, slides questions. Will China provide Iran with intelligence and continue to sell them weapons?
Absolutely, yes.
Bahrain is buzzing with revolution talk. Is it likely that a full-scale uprising will occur? What would be the
That is a very important question. So historically, Bahrain had been between 2/3 and 3/4 Shia Muslim. The royal family is Sunni Muslim. When I was there during what is now
a Kashmir situation.
Yeah, I was living there during what was then called the Intifada. It became now known as the First Intifada, and it was freaking hideous, let me tell you. So what the Bahraini royal family did in the intervening 30 years, I was living there 30 years ago, is they imported Syrians. Syrians are mostly Sunni Muslims, gave them Bahraini citizenship, and then started naturalizing Indian and Pakistani Muslims, Sunni Muslims. So now it's closer to 50-50. But even though it's closer to 50-50, the Sunnis still have money, the Shia are still poor. So there is always a threat of an uprising in Bahrain.
Let's do that. Let's do that spot. You've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators, like John and myself. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Robbie, just to please remind people why they should consider migrating from YouTube over to Rumble.
Yes, a few different reasons. One, from a purely monetary standpoint, Rumble pays a hell of a lot better. YouTube pays off of your ads. So you click on the YouTube video, if you let the ad run, the creators get paid. Rumble, because DeProgram is part of the Rumble Creator Program, is paid off of watch hours. So think about the TV or radio. The more that you watch, the more that they get paid. So basically for every nickel that they make on YouTube, they make about 96 cents over on Rumble. So the money is definitely there. Also, if you are a channel subscriber on YouTube, YouTube takes a nice generous 40% cut off of your subscription fee. With Rumble, you subscribe for $5 a month, and John and Ted keep every penny of it. Rumble doesn't take a dime for themselves.
One of the listeners is asking, Robbie, what about the reputation Rumble has for being right-wing? I mean, obviously,
we're changing that.
John's not right-wing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, so let's just address that for a little bit. When last year, when YouTube, the progressive liberal platform, demonetized John and Ted for almost 3 months, Rumble didn't. When the war with Ukraine started, YouTube, not Rumble, deleted John's channel. YouTube, not Rumble, shut down and throttled Ted Rall's channel. YouTube, not Rumble, removed RT. So if you're going to use YouTube as your beacon of free speech, maybe you should consider moving to Israel, because that's the kind of free speech that you want. If you want free speech, go to Rumble.
It's true. We've never once heard from Rumble to say, please take this down, take that down. We don't like the cut of your jib. YouTube's been a lot of trouble for us.
Yeah. And lastly, I mean, how y'all talked earlier, at the top of the show about just thanks for all the people coming and watching. When YouTube was paying a couple of $100 for what John and Ted are doing, Rumble, just off of people watching, was allowing them to pay their bills. Not YouTube.
True. Thank you very much, Robbie.
Just because someone's right wing doesn't mean that they're your enemy.
That's true. I can vouch for that. I got censored more by The Nation and Mother Jones than I ever did by Forbes or Fortune as a cartoonist. Slay 123, thanks for the $10. Didn't you guys catch the president's war briefing? Beautiful. Oh my God, this is like moving fast. Beautiful curtains and the construction in his new ballroom. At this point, Idiocracy feels less like satire and more of a documentary. What the fuck?
You know, it's the gold leaf that I just don't get. There's gold leaf everywhere. It's going to all have to be taken down. It's a waste of time and money.
It's it's like the decor is early Dolomite. If you
right.
Do we think Gulf countries want the U.S. to build bases that have been damaged? Rebuild. Sorry, from Breed. Thanks for the $4.99. That's a good question. I mean, the damage hasn't been very extensive, right? So,
not so far. Although there's breaking news. Robbie highlighted for us that Qatar is now bombing Iran, if you can imagine such a thing. A country of 250,000 people is bombing a country of 92 million people right now. The Qatari Navy has intercepted, 15 minutes ago, the Qatari Navy intercepted a ship full of Iranian missiles and drones and is forcing it into harbor in Doha.
John, how good is the Qatari military?
It's very tiny, but it's trained and equipped by the United States. So it's good. It's good. The Qataris are playing hardball right now.
It's been reported that Russia and Saudi Arabia spoke on Monday. Any significance to this?
Yeah, the Saudis, this is Mohammed bin Salman. I mean, the guy is just the most unpredictable leader or deputy leader in Saudi history. You might as well keep the lines of communication over. Like maybe the Russians can say something to the Iranians while the Saudis say something to the Americans, and we can all back off this thing.
By the way, I do want to, John, if you're okay with this, I'm focusing on the questions related to the war and sort of prioritizing those over other things, if that's okay.
Of course.
I've been seeing reports unconfirmed that Israel has been bombing oil infrastructure in Saudi Arabia and blaming it on Iran. So that's more.
Although, you can see on radar, you can see incoming missiles. So I don't think the Israelis are bombing Saudi oil fields. They don't need to, because the Iranians, for the last 40 years, the Iranians have been targeting Saudi oil fields.
Mm-hmm. Now that the war has started, is there any way to end it with peace in the region and without an increase in terror attacks? And not the second one. What will the impact be if Congress does take Trump's war powers away? It doesn't look, John, like that's going to happen, right? No. We're going to see a vote, but there's enough. Even though there's some conservatives who are, I think Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, people like that, who are going to vote for the war powers resolution, but there's also going to be the John Fettermans and other Democrats in name only who are going to cross the other way. So it'll probably look kind of like a normal vote in Congress that Democrats try to get through that fails.
Yeah, and if it's written as a resolution, a sense of the Congress resolution, it's not going to have any teeth or authority anyway. If it's done as a bill being passed into law, the president's going to veto it.
Let's see. Over the past year, several current former Israeli officials have pointed at Turkey as the next strategic threat to Israel. God, what a change, dude. They used to be buddies.
Yeah, they used to be close buddies, which is one of the reasons why the Greeks and the Palestinians were so close. Yeah, you and I should explore this more deeply at some point. But let's say that the Israelis are successful in Iran. And the Iranian leadership is removed from power. There's no need to worry anymore about an Iranian nuclear program. But the Israelis are always looking to attack the next guy.
Yeah, well, that's the rest of this question from our anonymous questioner here. Does Turkey constitute a meaningful military, diplomatic, or economic threat to Israel? Not only in terms of capabilities, I would say yes, in terms of capabilities, but also in terms of, oh my God, it moved forward. I'm sorry. Anyway,
that's okay.
You get the idea.
Yeah, diplomatically, yes, I do believe diplomatically the Israelis have their hands full with the Turks, but that's life. Maybe the Israelis should try to start getting along with people. Militarily, economically, no. The Turks aren't going to invade Israel.
No. Yeah, I don't think they. Yeah. Have you seen that Israelis are going to advance troops into southern Lebanon? They already have.
They did.
Greater Israel coming true. Although they do that all the time, so it's hard to say whether this
all the time. There's this 20-mile no man's land along the border. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Do we think Hezbollah's intervention was a smart move for them? I mean, it does feel a little bit like
nothing suicide. To lose. They have nothing to lose. But remember, martyrdom is something to be aspired to.
Right. Is there John, big fan of the content you produce?
Oh, thank you.
I want to ask, is there a reason why the UAE and Dubai is being disproportionately targeted compared to other emirates in the country, other Gulf countries, by the count of missiles intercepted? Other question is that reports are showing UAE and Qatar running out of THAAD Patriot missiles.
Yeah.
How do you think that will play out?
Yeah, so the reports from last night were that the UAE would be out of THAAD missiles in 7 days and the Qataris would be out of them in 4 days, and we can't resupply them quickly enough. So this is a problem. I think that the reason why the UAE has been so disproportionately targeted is that the UAE has been at the forefront of the attacks against the Houthis.
Mm.
And, despite the fact that Dubai is home to thousands of Iranians and Iranian businesses, I think the Iranian government just wants to bloody the Emiratis' noses as best they can.
What do you make of Marco Rubio and Mike Johnson's suggestions that we talked about this because Israel was going to attack Iran? What could possibly be the PR strategy of such statements from such pro-war and pro-Israel leaders? It is baffling. It's bad PR.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in crisis management. I mean, they knew they were going to do this, right? For at least months. So why do they not know how to spin this? John, why is the president still not speaking to the American people?
When he announced the attack, the start of the attack, he did it at 2:00 in the morning on Truth Social. He did not address the American people. He did not stand at the podium in the East Room of the White House and make an announcement that essentially we're at war. He did it on Truth Social. And you're right. He's only been going between Washington and Mar-a-Lago, back and forth. He has not begun crisscrossing the country to explain why he decided to send young American men and women into battle and put their lives at risk. He owes that to the American people.
The only thing I can think of, John, is that the reason that we haven't seen a primetime Oval Office address to the nation is he wants to do this as kind of a side project. He doesn't want it to become a defining feature of his presidency, right?
Right.
But you can't. It can't not be. It's so embarrassing. This morning on NPR, they were playing all of these clips of him promising, criticizing Obama for attacking Iran, saying, I'll never get you into any wars. These wars are stupid. Why do we spend money on blood and treasure overseas? Over and over and over.
Yeah.
And then this. I mean, the American people aren't that sharp, but they're not that stupid either.
No. And you've got to talk to the people. You've got to explain the policy.
And there's no effort here at all. I mean, maybe he just doesn't think, maybe they don't think that they have a good story to tell.
I saw a clip on, I don't remember if it was BBC yesterday or wherever it was, where they were interviewing Republican voters. Do you support or oppose the attack against Iran? So it was like a third of Republicans support it, 2/3 oppose it, and the supporters. Well, why do you support it? Well, these are very bad people. Iran's a bad country, or Iran is a bad country.
Right.
Like, there are a lot of bad countries out there, a lot. You're going to attack all of them? Like, what are you, nuts?
It's a good question. I've always wondered that. I used to, in the run up to the war against Iraq, I used to compile all the lists of dictatorships that the U.S. supports or tolerates around the world. It's a long list.
Ted, the markets are now open and they're all crashing, and oil is skyrocketing.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Looking at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down over 1,000 points right now, with the market having opened 14 minutes ago. We're down 2.13%.
Oh my God.
I would say this is a free fall.
This is
a crash.
They're gonna have to shut down trading.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's automatic triggers. So that probably will happen. If they shut down trading, that's going to be a huge signal. I mean, look, this is something that the president can't ignore, right? He's getting calls right now from Fortune 500 CEOs are flooding into the administration and saying, you're fucking up the economy. Donald Trump doesn't want to fuck up the economy.
Right.
That's the one thing he can't afford to do.
But Ted, let me ask you, why in the world would gold and silver be crashing?
Gold and silver should be going up.
They should be going up, and gold's down 3 1/3%, down $178.90.
The only thing I can think of is that we're seeing some profit taking because there's been, people who invest in precious metals traditionally do so over a longer period. It's not something that they trade in and out of in a day.
That's true.
So I think you might have like people who bought like a few months ago and thinking like, I'm going to get this right now, like while the market is high, and we'll see. What I would watch that. If it keeps that's really going to be strange if it keeps going down later in the day, but it could bounce back. Interestingly, what's the Russell? So the Russell, interestingly, the small cap Russell 2000 index is very small companies, and that's up. That's going up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. Super interesting. We are okay now. Sorry, now it's dropping. Okay. Okay, yeah. All right, now it's falling again. Okay, so we shall see what happens here. But okay, if you're the president, you're sitting there, you're watching he's getting this news. How's the administration going to respond to a stock market crash?
Knowing Donald Trump, he's going to put on a tough face and he's going to say, "Stay the course. This is the right thing to do. We're going to fight until we win. We're going to destroy the Iranians and their nuclear program, and everybody's going to make money. So just stay the course."
What are our thoughts on reports that MBS of Saudi Arabia encouraged Trump to attack Iran? I mean, we know that's true. Who benefits from spreading such reports? Do they have a net positive or negative effect for MBS or Saudi Arabia? I gotta think negative.
I would think negative too. It doesn't make sense to me because it was MBS's idea to try to normalize and improve relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran. So why attack? I just don't get it.
I do want to take this question, even though it's not about Iran. Eastern Congo is experiencing one of the worst humanitarian crises on the planet right now, has been for decades. 80% of women there say they've been raped. There are U.S.-backed agreements the critics say are designed to legally extract their resources without consent. We hear nothing about it, with 1 out of 4 people on Earth being African within 50 years. Powerful interests are already playing the long game over the continent while we look away. What's your specific position on U.S. policy toward the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Any mission in Africa in the past? I guess that question's for you, John.
One mission in Africa in the past, in Kenya, that I'm sorry to say I'm not permitted to talk about. I'm not even sure I'm allowed to say I had been in Kenya, but there it is. It was a long time ago. And then when I was with the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I did work in Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Somalia. The odd thing is U.S. DRC relations are actually quite good. We buy as much of their rare earth metals as they could possibly dig out of the ground. We make everything from chrome bumpers to cell phones to guided missile systems with their rare earth metals. And
the DRC government is very weak in the eastern part.
Very, very weak versus Rwanda, of all countries. Rwanda's like this big, DRC is huge, and the Rwandans just batter them about the face and head at will. It's chaos over there in the east, but this is one of those conflicts that Donald Trump took credit for solving. This was one of his arguments in support of the Nobel Peace Prize, that he brought peace to the eastern Congo, and the peace lasted a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting because Rwanda and Congo were both Belgian colonies, so
yes,
it's not like their colonial experience differed that much. They were both raped by King Leopold. I guess.
Yes.
I mean, but why does nobody care? Nobody cares. I think this is because it's very remote. It's hard to get to. And if you're a reporter who's interested in Congo and like, oh, I want to be stationed out there, I want to go out there for a couple of months, you could never, like if I called everyone I know, I could never get anyone in radio, TV, or the internet or print to send me to Congo. So no fucking way. No one's interested. No one will publish anything about it. It's not the BBC. American media outlets give no shits about it, which is why the American people, it's completely off their radar.
Which is why I watch BBC.
Yeah.
6 o'clock every day on PBS if you don't have access to the actual BBC.
Beats and Meats, thanks for the $9.99. Do you think Putin will threaten Israel with nukes if they threaten Iran with nukes? This is essentially what Professor Jiang hypothesized a few years ago in his infamous video, The Iran Trap.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think the Russians are far more responsible on this issue than the Israelis are. I don't think they'll make any threats like that.
FranCam, $5. I have a family friend traveling to Europe next week. Is worried about terror attacks because of the Iran war. Would I tourist travel? I guess I would now, but I'd be more worried in a year than I'd be worried next week. How about you, John?
I agree with that. There will always be a threat from lone wolves, and it's true that the Iranians have cells here and there around the world. I mean, if you're talking about traveling in Europe, no, I don't think there's any problem.
I think Western audiences always kind of think that, there's going to be a quick reaction to this sort of thing. That's just not how it is. But there will be a reaction.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for the $2 tip on Rumble Wallet. We are number 8 in the nation right now on Rumble. I think we have like over 2,000 live people watching live on YouTube. So thank you to all you guys. Will the Kurdish people one day achieve independence and full freedom? Mohammed wants to know. I believe so.
I sure hope so. We've talked about this a minute here and a minute there for a long time. You and I both love the Kurds. You and I both support Kurdish independence.
Absolutely.
I don't see it happening,
not soon.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Right. But I sure hope someday the Kurds have their independence. They deserve it.
They deserve it. It's been promised to them. I mean,
many times.
Yeah.
By the biggest powers.
And they need it.
Yeah,
they really do need it. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Someone's asking, please try to answer. Just Samantha. What did you ask? Just Samantha. Channel activity. Please answer my super chat question. I don't know. Robbie, try to find Samantha's question, please. I'm sorry. Things are moving. Anyone in the scroll knows this is really happening fast. Meow Meow wants to know, is this happening because Benjamin Netanyahu is up for election this year? Well, it's not a reason.
Can't hurt. Yeah, it's not a reason. That's it, Ted. Yes. Yeah, that and the ongoing felony corruption charges pending against him. So long as he's the prime minister, he's not going to prison.
Why would the State Department list Egypt as somewhere Americans should immediately depart from, or I should say depart to, or depart from? Israel wouldn't be dumb enough to strike at Trump's favorite dictator, right?
No, that's not it at all.
That's not it.
It's that the Arab street really doesn't like Americans. And so, sure, while we're buddy-buddy with the military dictatorship that rules Egypt, the average Egyptian is pretty darn angry at us right now.
No doubt. Tammy, thanks for the question. We'd like to know our opinion on Ayatollah Khamenei as a leader and as a person. Thank you for your reply. That's a good question.
Ted, yesterday I did an interview. I don't even remember. I've done so many, I can't remember with whom. I did one last night, and I stole one of your lines that really went over well.
Okay.
Killing Khamenei is like killing the Pope. You kill the Pope, you don't bring down Catholicism. They just pick another Pope. Well, killing Khamenei is not going to bring down Iran or Shiism. They're just going to pick another Grand Ayatollah. And he may be worse.
Yeah, that is 100% right. Do we think Trump had the foresight to seize control of Venezuela's oil before destabilizing the Middle East?
Yes. Yes, I believe that is indeed the case.
It's crazy.
Just in case we screw things up and the Straits of Hormuz are closed, which they could be closed in the next, 8 hours.
Hello from Vietnam. Thank you for the show. Saw the notice from the State Department for Americans to get out of the Middle East by any means necessary. How should average Americans try to get out in such a situation? The economic fallout is going to be massive. Which dominoes do we see falling first, and how will it affect the rest of the globe? I have a lot of experience escaping places that are going tits up. I would say, first of all, I like land crossings. Land crossings are better as a rule. But if you're not sure, travel with locals. That's also one of my big pieces of advice. Like if you know some locals who want to go somewhere, go with them in their shitty local vehicle. Is always a way to go. Like when I was
That's how you get out of Afghanistan.
That's how I got out of Afghanistan. Yeah. I was like all wrapped up in scarves in the back of an old Soviet pickup truck. We offered like the locals, like, hey, you want to go? Free ride. Come on. More the merrier. But also you might want to hunker down. I think you're more of a target when you're in motion.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Which economic dominoes will follow first? I don't know. Trump's chances in the midterm elections.
Yeah, we should talk about that actually. Mm-hmm. If only 1/3 of Republicans think this is a good idea, and if this thing extends beyond the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're potentially looking at an anti-Republican bloodbath coming in November.
John, I wrote my column this week, and you've kept your counsel about what you think of it, about the possibility of a canceled election. But I'm not alone now in my paranoia. The Atlantic and NPR both are entertaining the same possibility.
Yes, that is true. More and more people. It's got to
be something they're thinking about.
I'll tell you, it's never happened before in American history.
No,
never.
But elections have been delayed.
Yes, the New York mayoral race was delayed after 9/11.
And it changed the outcome.
And Mike Bloomberg won.
Yeah, it would have been Mark Green otherwise. And everyone's like, who? It's like, exactly.
Oh, no, Mark Green was great.
Oh, I know.
He would have been a fantastic mayor of New York.
Would have been absolutely
everything changed.
Totally.
Yep.
He was great.
He was great.
He was consumer advocate for New York City.
Yeah.
And among the two things that he did is he said women get overcharged for haircuts. Why should women get charged more for haircuts than men? So he passed a law to make it the same. And he said, why should a woman's blouse cost more to dry clean than a man's shirt? It's the same exact object.
Yes.
So, but then all that was reversed under Bloomberg. Kieran, thanks for the £5. We see the BBC as biased in the UK, but in the US it's seen as a less biased. I find that crazy how bad the propaganda is in the US. My take on that, John, is that the BBC is less trustworthy about things in the UK.
Oh yeah.
But in other words, if I were in England, I'd want to watch non-English news about domestic British stuff.
Yes.
But the BBC is less biased about the U.S.
It is. The BBC has a long history of offering both sides, which we don't do here in the United States.
No,
and you know what? When I was in the CIA and we were getting ready to liberate Kuwait, it would drive me crazy to watch the BBC and they say, the Iraqis invaded Kuwait. But the poor, starving Iraqi children, the sanctions are killing them. And it's like, but food's not sanctioned. It's just that Saddam won't distribute the food. That drove me nuts.
Soden, thanks. Speaking of Saddam, Soden, with just a minute or two left, thanks for the $49.99. Very generous.
Thank you, Solon.
Was Saddam and Gaddafi the buffer for us with Iran?
Yes.
They were the counterbalance. User, thanks for the 219 Turkish lira. What's the end game for Israel? No country active besides Turkey in terms of what's ahead in the region. Europe is asleep and other Gulf countries are just not as effective. I don't know. I mean, Israel they're on the fucking warpath, man. And I don't know.
They are. It's
they're
like
cruising for a bruising too.
We're the only ones who can tell them stop, and we just won't do it.
No, that's what's needed. We need to elect a president who would just cut them off once and for all. We are at now 9:59. I am very apologetic. There was just no way to get to all of your questions, many of which were really great and deserved to be answered today. But the good news is we're back tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. And we will have Aquiles Larrea with us at 9:15 Eastern time tomorrow. We're here at 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. We'll be back tomorrow at 9. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, follow, and share the show. Thank you once again for your generous support of Robbie Aid, allowing us to do this show together. John, always great to see you. Please stay tuned for the TMI show with me and Manila Chan. That's coming up right now.